If you're over 60, your morning vitamin habit might be the most dangerous thing you do all day. No one tells you this, but I will. She went to bed feeling fine. No headache, no weakness, no warning. But when she woke up, she couldn't lift her arm. Her speech was slurred, and the right side of her face didn't move. Her name is Linda. She's 71, she doesn't smoke. She walks every morning, she eats clean, and yet she had a stroke. The doctors found no major blockage, no clot, no family history. What they did find was a bottle of supplements on her nightstand. 3 of them were vitamins, and one, taken daily for over a year, may have been the quiet trigger behind it all. As a brain doctor, I wish her story was rare, but it's not. Every year, more older adults suffer strokes, brain bleeds, or dangerous blood pressure spikes, not from bad habits, but from something they thought was helping. Their vitamins. Yes, really. There are certain supplements that, especially after 60, may quietly increase your vitamin stroke risk. They might thin your blood too much, raise your calcium when you're sleeping, or push your blood pressure into the danger zone without any symptoms at all. If you've ever searched for supplements to avoid stroke, if you follow experts like Huberman for brain health, or if you're simply trying to protect your memory, balance, and independence, this video could change what you reach for every morning. Today, I'll walk you through 5 of the most dangerous vitamins for seniors and the real science behind how they may silently affect your brain. I'll also show you how to spot the red flags on your supplement labels, how to rethink your routine, and what to do if you're already taking something risky without knowing. This isn't to scare you, it's to protect you. Because stroke prevention over 60 isn't just about cutting salt or walking more. Sometimes it's about what you stop taking. So let me ask you, have you ever wondered if your vitamins might be doing more harm than good? Or if your daily routine might be silently putting your brain at risk? Type a quick yes in the comments, and don't forget to like this video if brain health matters to you or someone you love. Now let me tell you what Linda was taking and why it nearly cost her everything. Number 1. Vitamin D, the bone builder that hardens arteries. Let's start with the vitamin that surprises most people. Because for years it's been praised as essential. Vitamin D, it's been called the sunshine vitamin, the protector of bones, the immune system's secret weapon, and for good reason. It helps your body absorb calcium, it boosts mood. And in moderate amounts, it really does support healthy aging. But here's what most people over 60 are never told. Too much vitamin D, especially when taken without regular testing, can silently turn from helper to harm. Let me tell you about Walter. He's 74, a retired Navy veteran, disciplined, sharp, and serious about his health. Every morning he lined up his supplements like clockwork. One of them, a 10,000 IU vitamin D capsule. He bought it online, no prescription. He believed it was helping protect his bones, but over time, without realizing it, that one daily habit was slowly pushing his body toward disaster. One morning, Walter's wife found him confused, his right arm limp, his words slurred. He had suffered a stroke overnight. At the hospital, his labs showed dangerously high calcium levels. His arteries were stiff. His blood pressure had been spiking during the night. The silent culprit, vitamin D toxicity. Here's what happens. When you take high doses of vitamin D, it increases calcium absorption. But when there's too much calcium in your blood, your body doesn't know what to do with it. So it sends that calcium into soft tissues, into your kidneys, your heart, and most dangerously, your arteries. Over time, those arteries stiffen and narrow. And in older adults where flexibility is already reduced, that can mean one thing. A clot has nowhere to go but up, to the brain. And it usually happens in the early morning hours, when you're asleep, dehydrated, and unaware. Here's the part most people miss. Even 2,000 IU of vitamin D daily might be too much for someone who isn't deficient. And many over-the-counter supplements go way beyond that. You may see 5,000, even 10,000 IU on the shelf. No warning, no guidance, just the promise of stronger bones and a better mood, but your body needs balance. Not more, so what's the lesson? If you're over 60 and taking vitamin D, especially along with calcium or blood pressure medications, please get your blood levels checked. And take it in the morning, never before bed. It's not about avoiding vitamin D, it's about using it wisely, at the right dose, and with the right supervision. Now, if that surprised you, wait until you hear about the next vitamin. The one many people take for heart health, but that could quietly increase your risk of bleeding in the brain. Let's talk about vitamin E number 2. Vitamin E, heart healthy or brain bleeding risk. If vitamin D is the quiet stiffener of arteries, then vitamin E is the smooth talker with a hidden edge. Most older adults know vitamin E as the heart helper. You'll hear that it supports circulation, protects cells from damage, maybe even slows aging. And yes, at the right dose, vitamin E can help, but too much, especially when paired with common medications, can quietly turn dangerous. Let me introduce you to Evelyn. She's 81, a retired librarian from Ohio. Sharp, witty, always had a book in hand. She had a heart valve issue, so she was on warfarin, a common blood thinner. Her doctors kept close watch on her labs, and everything seemed perfectly stable. Then one day, Evelyn read an article about vitamin E and how it could help memory and heart health. So she bought a bottle from a mail-order catalog, 800 IU per capsule. She took one every day. 3 weeks later, Evelyn was rushed to the ER. She had a sudden headache, vomiting, confusion, and then she collapsed. A brain scan revealed the cause, a hemorrhagic stroke, bleeding inside the brain. It wasn't caused by trauma. It wasn't from high blood pressure. It was from overthinned blood. The combination of her prescribed blood thinner and high-dose vitamin E had left her body unable to clot. One small, fragile vessel gave way, and it nearly ended her life. Most people don't realize that vitamin E in high doses acts as a natural blood thinner. It slows down clotting. That's great, unless you're already on aspirin, Plavix, or warfarin. Then it becomes a recipe for internal bleeding. And where's the most dangerous place for that to happen? The brain. Now here's the shocker. The recommended daily amount of vitamin E for older adults is just 15 milligrams. That's about 22 IU. But walk into any pharmacy and you'll find supplements with 200, 400, even 1,000 IU per capsule. No warnings, no dosage guidance, just marketing words like heart, youthful, or circulation. And so many seniors like Evelyn take them daily, thinking they're helping themselves. Evelyn survived, but she now walks with a cane. And she told me something I'll never forget. I thought I was protecting my heart. I didn't know I was risking my brain. So here's the lesson. If you're on any kind of blood thinner, or have issues with bruising, blood pressure, or balance, talk to your doctor before adding vitamin E supplements. And always check the IU dose, because the line between helpful and harmful is often thinner than we think. Now, if that story shook you, wait until you hear this. There's another vitamin that's supposed to support your nerves, boost your brain, and help with energy. But when taken in high doses, it can actually destroy the very nerves it claims to protect. Let's talk about vitamin B6. Number 3, vitamin B6, the nerve vitamin that damages nerves. Some vitamins wear clever disguises, and vitamin B6 might be one of the trickiest. Walk down any pharmacy aisle and you'll see B6 labeled as the nerve protector, the energy booster, the brain support. For many older adults, it feels like a smart choice. After all, who doesn't want better energy, sharper focus, or less tingling in the hands and feet? But here's the part few people are told. In high doses, vitamin B6 can quietly damage your nerves, and sometimes the damage is permanent. Let me tell you about Harold. He's 76, a retired truck driver from Kansas. Straightforward, hardworking, and proud of staying independent. He came into my clinic because his feet felt numb, his hands tingled, and his balance was off. At first, he blamed it on aging, but then came the falls. The third one left him with a head injury and a trip to the ER. When I reviewed his supplement list, the answer became clear. Harold had been taking a nerve support blend for over a year. Each tablet had 100 milligrams of B6, and he was taking 2 per day. That's 200 milligrams daily, over 10 times the recommended upper limit for someone his age. Here's what happens. Vitamin B6 builds up in your system. It's fat-soluble, so it doesn't flush out quickly like vitamin C, and when the levels rise too high, it begins to damage the myelin sheath. That's the protective layer around your nerves. Think of it like stripping the insulation off electrical wires. Signals misfire, balance weakens, numbness spreads, and the scariest part, it happens slowly. Most people think it's just age or arthritis, but really their nerves are quietly unraveling. We stopped Harold's supplement immediately, and while we caught it in time to prevent further damage, he still uses a cane. He doesn't drive anymore. He looked at me once and said, "I just wanted to protect my brain. I didn't know I was poisoning it." So what's the safe zone? Older adults typically need only 1.5 to 2 milligrams of B6 per day, and that includes what you get from food. But many over-the-counter brain or nerve formulas contain 50, 100, or even 200 mg per pill. And some people take them for months, even years, without realizing the risk. So here's the lesson. If your supplement says nerve, brain, or energy, check the label. Look for vitamin B6. And if it's over 10 mg, ask your doctor if it's truly necessary. Because too much of a good thing can become a long, silent injury. Now, if you thought that was concerning, wait until you hear about a vitamin we've all trusted for decades. One that's known for eye health, but that in high doses can actually build pressure in your skull and mimic a brain tumor. Let's talk about vitamin A number 4. Vitamin A, eye health or brain pressure. Ask most people what vitamin A is for and they'll say eyesight. And they're not wrong. Vitamin A supports healthy vision, skin, and immune function. It's one of those classic vitamins we've trusted since childhood. But here's what almost no one talks about. In high doses, especially over time, vitamin A can build pressure inside your brain. Yes, a vitamin for the eyes can quietly hurt the brain. Let me tell you about Dorothy. She's 79. A retired piano teacher from Oregon. She loved her independence. She still taught music lessons from her living room, and she took pride in aging gracefully. A few years ago, she added a skin and eye supplement to her daily routine. The label promised radiant skin and healthy vision. 10,000 IU of vitamin A per capsule. She took it faithfully every morning for 5 years. Then came the headaches, then blurred vision. Then one day she couldn't walk straight. Her speech was off. Her family feared it was a stroke, but when we scanned her brain, there was no clot, no bleeding. Instead, there was elevated intracranial pressure, a condition where fluid builds up in the brain, creating pressure inside the skull. The cause? Vitamin A toxicity. Unlike vitamin C or B-complex vitamins, vitamin A is fat-soluble. That means it gets stored in your liver, your tissues, even your brain. It doesn't flush out easily. And as we age, our ability to clear it slows down. So what begins as a helpful habit slowly turns into a buildup. And too much vitamin A can cause a condition called pseudotumor cerebri, literally, a false brain tumor. The symptoms are serious: headaches, dizziness, nausea, double vision, confusion, even permanent vision loss. Dorothy didn't have a stroke, but the pressure in her brain left her needing balance therapy. She lost some of her independence. And I'll never forget what she told me after her diagnosis. "I thought I was doing something good for my body. I never imagined it could hurt my brain." So what's the safe limit? For older adults, the upper daily limit of vitamin A is about 3,000 IU. And that's only if you truly need it under a doctor's supervision. But many supplements, especially ones labeled for skin or vision, contain 5,000 to 10,000 IU per pill. And some multivitamins stack more on top of that. It adds up fast. So the lesson here is simple. If you're taking a supplement for your skin, your eyes, or anti-aging benefits, check the label. And talk to your doctor if you're already getting vitamin A through food. Because sometimes, protecting one part of the body means quietly risking another. Now, if that made you stop and think, just wait until you hear what happens when a vitamin meant for cholesterol support starts spiking your blood pressure without warning. Let's talk about niacin, vitamin B3. Number 5. Niacin, the cholesterol cure that spikes blood pressure. If you've been told to lower your cholesterol naturally, you've probably heard of niacin. Also known as vitamin B3, it's often praised for heart health. Some doctors even prescribe it. You'll find it in over-the-counter cholesterol blends, energy drinks, and even some fortified cereals. But here's what most older adults are never warned about. In high doses, niacin doesn't just help your cholesterol. It can quietly send your blood pressure on a roller coaster, one that ends with dizziness, fainting, or even a stroke. Let me introduce you to Frank. He's 82. A retired postman from Florida, friendly, active, always on his feet. Frank came into my office with a strange list of complaints: morning headaches, hot flashes in his face, sudden chest pounding, and dizzy spells that came out of nowhere. At first, his wife thought it was anxiety. His son blamed the blood pressure meds, but the real problem was hiding in plain sight. Frank had been taking a heart health supplement. The front label said, supports cholesterol and circulation. But on the back, 1,000 mg of niacin per serving, and Frank was taking it twice a day. That's 2,000 mg daily, over 60 times the typical dietary need for seniors. Here's what happens when you take that much niacin. At first, your blood vessels dilate, they open wide. That's why your face feels flushed or warm. But then, as the effect wears off, those vessels snap back. They constrict sharply. That sudden tightening raises your blood pressure. It stresses your heart, and it reduces blood flow to your brain. Over time, this yo-yo effect is like tapping a hammer on glass. Eventually, something cracks. In Frank's case, it was a transient ischemic attack, a mini stroke. His speech went slurred for 2 minutes, then returned. He thought it was just a weird moment, but I had to tell him the truth. His natural supplement was quietly endangering his brain. And he's not alone. Many older adults take high-dose niacin without even realizing it. Some even buy flush-free or extended-release forms online, thinking it's safer. But even those versions can trigger atrial fibrillation, affect blood sugar, and strain the brain-heart connection. Here's what matters most. For older adults, anything over 50 mg of niacin per day should only be used with a doctor's supervision, especially if you have blood pressure issues, heart rhythm problems, or take medications. Frank is recovering now. No permanent damage. But he told me something I think about often. "Doc, I thought I was doing everything right. I didn't know I was gambling with my brain." So the lesson is this. Just because it says heart healthy doesn't mean it's brain safe. Always read the back of the bottle, not just the front. Now, speaking of safety and balance, there's one vitamin you almost never hear about. But without it, your calcium and vitamin D can do more harm than good. Let's talk about the quiet partner in brain and bone health, vitamin K. Number 6, the missing vitamin. K, the forgotten partner in calcium control. We talk a lot about vitamin D for bone strength. We talk about calcium for bone density. But almost no one talks about vitamin K. And yet without it, your body might be storing calcium in the wrong places, like your arteries or even your brain. Let me explain. Vitamin K is often overlooked, especially in older adults. But it plays a critical role in calcium control. Specifically, vitamin K2 helps direct calcium to the bones and keeps it out of your arteries and soft tissues. Think of it like traffic control. Without K2, calcium gets confused. It may end up hardening the walls of your blood vessels instead of strengthening your skeleton. Now here's where things get tricky. Many older adults take high-dose vitamin D and calcium supplements, believing they're doing everything right. But if they're low in K2, That combination can actually raise their risk of arterial stiffness, high blood pressure, and in some cases, stroke. Let me share the story of Joan. She's 68, a retired nurse who prided herself on staying informed. She took 5,000 IU of vitamin D daily, alongside a calcium pill with every meal. Her bones were strong on scans. But one day she was diagnosed with early-stage arterial calcification, hardening of the arteries. She was shocked. Her cholesterol was normal. Her blood sugar was controlled. Her lifestyle was healthy. But there was one thing missing. Vitamin K. Joan wasn't eating much leafy green vegetables anymore, and none of her supplements had K2. Her doctor explained that without K2, the calcium had nowhere safe to go. It settled into her blood vessels, not her bones. She adjusted her routine, added a K2 supplement, and included more greens in her meals. Her next scan showed improvement. She told me later, "I thought I was doing everything to help my bones. I didn't realize I was hardening my arteries instead." So what's the takeaway? Vitamin K2 is especially important if you're taking vitamin D or calcium. It helps activate proteins that move calcium out of your arteries and into your bones. Good sources of K2 include fermented foods like natto, aged cheeses, and leafy greens. Supplement doses of 100 to 200 micrograms daily are often used safely in older adults. But as always, check with your doctor, especially if you're on blood thinners. The big lesson here, when it comes to nutrients, it's not just what you take, it's how they work together. Now, speaking of combinations, let's take a look at multivitamins. They're convenient, sure, but are they actually helping or quietly overloading your body with things you don't need? Let's unpack that next. Number 7. Multivitamins, convenience or overload. Multivitamins feel like the perfect safety net. One pill once a day covers everything, right? For many people over 60, it seems like common sense. You're not sure what nutrients you're missing, so why not take a little bit of everything? But here's the problem. What's convenient isn't always what's needed. And in some cases, multivitamins can quietly do more harm than good. Let me tell you about Henry. He's 74, a retired math teacher who never missed a day of his multivitamin. He took a high-potency silver adult formula every morning. It had 100% or more of nearly every vitamin on the label, sometimes double or triple. Henry didn't think twice about it until he started feeling off. He was more tired than usual. His hands tingled. His blood pressure crept up, despite his usual walking routine. After a few weeks of feeling foggy, his doctor ran labs and found something surprising: elevated levels of vitamin B6 and vitamin A, both of which can build up over time in older adults. And it turned out Henry was already eating a fairly nutrient-rich diet. Eggs, leafy greens, fruit, whole grains. He was getting most of what he needed from food. The multivitamin wasn't filling a gap. It was stacking more on top of what his body already had, and his body was starting to show signs of overload. You see, multivitamins aren't customized. They don't ask how you eat, what meds you take, or what your blood work says. They just deliver a one-size-fits-all dose, which in some cases is far more than you need. And in older adults, that can quietly backfire, especially with fat-soluble vitamins like D, E, and K, or with B6, which can accumulate and damage nerves. So what's the lesson here? Just because it's mult doesn't mean it's mindful. If you're already eating a relatively balanced diet or taking other supplements, a multivitamin might be doubling or tripling certain nutrients without you realizing. And here's something many people miss. Multivitamins aren't always tested for quality or absorption. Some pass right through the body. Others may contain synthetic forms that don't match what your body prefers. Now, are all multivitamins bad? Not necessarily, but they should never replace a thoughtful approach to your real needs. That's why the smartest strategy moving forward isn't just about picking a better pill. It's about rethinking the whole idea of pills first. Because when it comes to protecting your brain and aging well, there's a much more powerful and natural place to start. Let's talk about it in our final section. Food first, supplements second, and why that shift can change everything. Number 8. The smarter alternative: food first, supplements second. When Margaret turned 70, her kitchen looked more like a pharmacy. Tiny bottles lined her counter. Vitamin D for bones, vitamin B for energy, vitamin E for her heart, a multivitamin for insurance, and fish oil just in case. She meant well. Like so many others, she wanted to stay sharp, active, and strong. But despite all the pills, she didn't feel the way she hoped. Her mornings were foggy. Her blood pressure kept fluctuating. And some days her stomach just felt off. Then one visit changed everything. Her new doctor asked a simple question: what if we tried food instead? At first, Margaret was skeptical. She thought food wasn't enough anymore. But they made a small shift. They removed everything except what was medically essential, and they built her meals like medicine. A colorful plate of berries with breakfast, rich in antioxidants and fiber. Spinach sautéed in olive oil for lunch, delivering vitamin K, iron, and magnesium. Wild salmon twice a week, full of natural omega-3s. Nuts, seeds, sweet potatoes, fermented veggies. All simple, all delicious, all naturally nourishing. Within weeks, her energy returned. Her blood pressure stabilized, and she no longer needed a drawer of pills to feel like herself again. The reason? Your body knows food. It recognizes nutrients when they come wrapped in nature, balanced, bioavailable, and gentle. Supplements can be powerful tools, but food is the foundation, because it offers more than isolated nutrients. It delivers synergy. Vitamins, minerals, fiber, water, antioxidants, all working together in ways that science is still uncovering. Real food supports not just your brain, but your heart, gut, bones, skin, and even your mood. It gives you rhythm, color, joy, and unlike pills, it teaches you to listen to your body, to slow down, to reconnect with what nourishes, not just feeds. So here's the shift. Before reaching for a bottle, ask, can I get this from a meal? Can I build a plate that protects my brain rather than chasing another label that promises it? Because while supplements have a place, especially for those with medical deficiencies, they're not the starting point. They're the backup plan, not the main strategy. And when you build your health from the ground up with whole foods, hydration, movement, and rest, you create something supplements alone can't provide: resilience. Now, let's bring it all together. Because the truth is, what we've uncovered in this video isn't just about vitamins or even food. It's about something much deeper. And the final message may be the most important of all. Let's talk about it in the conclusion. Pills don't equal protection, awareness does. So where does all this leave us? If there's one truth that ties everything together, it's this: taking a pill isn't the same as taking control. We live in a world that makes it easy to believe that protection comes in a bottle, that more vitamins mean more health, that if it's sold in a pharmacy, it must be safe. But as we've seen, especially after 60, our bodies change. How we absorb, how we react, how we store what we take in. And that means one size fits all doesn't fit anymore. Not for supplements, not for our brains, not for the lives we want to lead. Now, this isn't about fear. It's about awareness. And awareness is powerful, because when you know what to look for, you start asking better questions. You read labels with purpose. You ask your doctor with clarity. You choose foods that fuel, not confuse, your body. And slowly you build something stronger than just routine. You build wisdom. Let's pause and remember, you are not powerless. You are not past your prime. And you are not too late. In fact, your brain is still listening. Your heart is still adjusting. And your muscles, your energy, your clarity, they're all waiting for one small decision to shift everything. So what's next? Start simple. Check your supplement labels tonight. See if any doses seem high or unfamiliar. Write down your questions. Talk to your doctor about what you truly need and what you don't. And tomorrow morning, build your breakfast with intention, color, balance, hydration. Start there. Because pills don't equal protection, but awareness does. And from that awareness comes the freedom to age with confidence, with strength, and with the peace of mind that you're not just adding years to your life, you're adding life to your years. If this video helped open your eyes, help someone else by sharing it, type in the comments, one small change you're making starting today. And if you want more science-backed tools to protect your brain, your muscles, and your energy after 60, subscribe now and join us here on this journey. Because we're just getting started, and your best years, they still remember your name.